It's your boy, Mr. Collins Diambo, and welcome to another episode of Collins Elevates You, where we're all about shifting mindsets and raising potential. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about finances, and I'm so happy to be hosting my friend via the phone. We're in quarantine, so we have to find other ways on how to do this interview. So I'm so happy to have my friend, Mr. Amos Ngau. So something a little bit about Mr. Amos. He's a great father. He's a basketball player. That's how we became friends. He's a well-known financial coach who's been featured on most of our local channels like NTV, K24, Family TV. He's been hosted on a number of talk shows, and he's also a great speaker. He has over 12 years. I think it's even more right now. Over 12 years of financial consultancy experience. So he's so good when it comes to issues to do with money. He helped me so much back in 2018 when I bought his great book, which we're going to be talking about more. It's called Turnaround Solutions. It's a very great book, a personal guide towards practical financial solutions. So I feel like we as millennials and even sportsmen, it's important for us to understand managing our finances, being wise with our finances, and also just getting some education in terms of our finances. So Mr. Amos, how are you, man?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm very fine. I'm so happy to have you. How is quarantine?
Just stay in the house.
That is good, man.
The time out.
Yeah, yes, that is it.
Everybody must go to the bench.
Yes. So right now it's like we are all in the bench and you're trying to figure out what can we do so that when you go out, when you go back to the court, we get better results. In this case, I think you're talking about our life. And we're hopeful that things will get better. Let me just dive in. First thing is, please share about where you grew from and how basically your childhood. How was your childhood basically?
Okay. Well, I was born in Umoja.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, Umoja was Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
Then my folks moved to Nyakuru.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a third born in a family of four.
Okay.
And I have three brothers. I'm between the four.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is a Ghana.
Uh-huh.
And after a few years, in about 5 years in Yamdu, then back to Thika. So the rest of my life I've grown up in Thika.
Okay. What are some things that maybe you learned from your parents, that have been with you to this day?
Well, of course, the generation of ours did not joke with discipline.
Yeah.
So they would hit you with anything that was nearby. And but one of the most important thing I learned from my dad is that I used to admire the way he used to dress himself. And he used to make sure just so that I just compliment that. Make sure I polished his shoe nicely so that he looks really good because he was in marketing. So I used to admire what he used to do, and then over time as we grew up, he would always, if you're buying something, you'd always find that he's haggling for the price, negotiate. And now growing into teenage now, you're learning one or two businesses, you learned how to negotiate with yourself. Not letting anybody dictate the value of your skill.
Yeah.
So that is one of the major lessons that I've learned from my dad. And it's not like he left me like so much, He's still there, but it's more or less of him helping you to, achieve something by your own.
Okay. I've heard about this a number of times, and I believe it's true that most of our financial beliefs or how we relate to money is mostly based on what we experienced growing up. You understand? Maybe how the guys who we depended on mainly our parents or our guardians, their relationship to money affects how most of us right now as grown-up men and women, how we relate to money. So I don't know what you think about that. And do you think it's true?
Oh, well, I'll tell you something. My dad was a cash spender. That guy, him and money were distant cousins. You can't put them in the same room. They can't get along. One of them must leave.
Yeah, I get it.
And he's still a very generous man. And I feel like it might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. But that guy lives for today, lives for today, and sometimes it can be fatal because now you're looking at your finances. Sometimes you end up living above your means. But also that kind of money personality, you spend a lot, you spend anyhow, but you also get the money pretty fast. So I can't really say that it is out of that, because also for me, my personality also is a spender. I enjoy good things,
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so there's no really wrong or right personality. It's a matter of seeing how you can take advantage of it in the positive ones and see how you can handle the negative. So I can't really say that other than learning how to live for today, the rest are things that you just learn over time. Ability to have financial discipline and save up does not equate to creating wealth.
That is true.
Creating wealth. Because I have, in my career, I'm actually doing my 15th year.
Yes, 15th year.
And I've actually met people who are financially disciplined. And you find someone who has saved about 5, 7, 10 million shillings in their bank account. And then you find someone with a very good salary. But towards the end of the month, they're actually looking for something to sustain them for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But over time, it is easier for you to make an adjustment with the latter character than the first one.
Okay.
Because people who are in that kind of personality, yes, they accumulate wealth, but to release that, to release their investment.
Yeah, yes.
It becomes
yes, I'm going to lose it.
So, that's what I'm saying. There's no wrong or right money personality. Probably even if I don't know, I may not know the personality of the mom, but they're just talking about your mom. But technically, you'd find that even today, I find people who are very well disciplined, but they're not creating wealth. They're not generating any wealth.
Yeah.
So, even if they are, it's taking a very long time. So, it is one or two things that you can be able to pick the positive one and see how you can, avoid the negative.
Another thing that I wanted to know is just to get your perspective on this idea of a scarcity mindset. I think you've touched a little bit on the last point. I don't know what you think about it. Do you think it's something that is holding most of us from enjoying financial freedom?
Well, in philosophy, there's a study done on appetite. And we just need to know when enough is enough.
Okay.
Because, for instance, if today I give you $1 million, if for instance you need to ask yourself, let's say, even to a listener, you can actually take a piece of the bed, right, from number 1 to 10. And then number 1, we say we give you 20,000 now. Number 2, we give you 200,000. Number 3, we go and give you, 2 million. And go increasing with a 0. Now, this exercise
Mm-hmm.
It brings about excitement as you go on with it,
Yeah.
But if you realize,
Mm-hmm.
if today I give you 10,000, probably you will do a bit of shopping, stock up, and do something basically consumable.
Yes.
But if today I give you $1 million, it's a whole different ball.
Mm-hmm.
But if I give you 2 billion,
Mm-hmm.
now that just blows your mind.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say with this is that whichever level we are at financially,
Yes.
we need to distinguish between what can meet our need
Mm-hmm.
and what is a seed.
That is true.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because for instance, today, if you get to that place where I have 2 million and I have a dream of building a house, 2 million, if I'm planning to build a house, let's say worth 4.5, 2 million may not be enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
And let's say if I'm employed, I don't want to do a house of 2 million, then get started moving before it is complete.
Yeah.
So there's someone who might look at the 2 million as a seed and decide to put it in their savings society. That could be. And after 60 days, they can get a loan 3 times, which is 6 million. You understand?
Yes.
Which they can actually use to build the house, and still they're getting a dividend of, let's say, 10% per annum, and they can use that to pay school fees. So we need to ask ourselves, how much money is enough for me?
Okay. How much money is enough for me?
Yes, you understand? And not just enough for consumption, enough for me to invest into a project that I have to be able to reap the returns. You understand? That way you avoid the scarcity mentality, because at the end of the day, this quarantine things, the way you guys are staying indoors, to me, I'm looking at some of what guys have been posting, and it actually looks like retirement. Retirement, when you have plenty of time, but
Doing nothing. Yes.
you're used to working.
Yes. That is
You
true.
understand? And based on how you plan your retirement, or circumstances that led, so sometimes it's not about planning, sometimes life can hit you hard. So you realize there are people in their houses today that can actually stay indoors and just go get supplies, and they may not have to work for even 2 years.
Yes. That is true.
And there are guys who are setting the curfew at 7. Because up to now, they don't have something to give to their family.
Yes.
And they're outside there, So depending on where you are, this is basically retirement. And it makes us think what we could have done better.
That is true.
Look at it as retirement. You look like you've gotten a second chance to go back to a younger age to work and make better decisions. Because I've met many people who've retired, but I asked them, what are some of the things that you really change, And one of my very good friends, actually he's 80. The well-known guy, very well, and he's telling me, I wish I invested more time in my family.
In the farming. Okay.
Yes, because at some point I was making so much money, but I continued to look for more. Then I sacrificed my time. You understand? And for me, I found that because at the end of the day, today, I think guys are worried about coronavirus, and basically these are the rich. Because in most of the nations, African nations, if you look at the figures they've lost, those that have lost the most is about 3,000, 4,000, right?
Yeah.
But can you imagine that is the number we lose every year due to road accidents in Kenya?
Wow.
Are you aware?
Wow. I wasn't aware.
And it's not highlighted. And there are guys even who die of hunger in most nations that is not reported. But because of the nature of this corona, I mean, it's exposing everybody's at a risk.
Yes.
So now they're being forced to stay in their houses. They're indoors right now.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is that we need to refocus. Money can actually be enough. It can actually be enough
Yes.
And if we can base our reasoning around how much is enough for me, so that I can give opportunity to other guys and I can invest that and do some form of plans and do sufficient things that can be able to give me a lifelong cash flow, then I can do that.
Yeah. People are realizing, the most important things in their lives, because right now you're forced to spend time with your family. For example, if you're not always present, maybe you are always, outside there going after that money. But right now, you have all the money. Now you've come back, you have to stay home, and it's like you're living with strangers just because, you are outside there, going after that money, but you forgot about your family. So I think what you said is true. You have to figure out how much money is enough for me, and then you see how we can invest them. You can invest that money. So that is a good point. Now, in your book, the first chapter, you talked about the idea of and I believe it's true. I feel like there's a loophole in our education system when it comes to teaching us about money, because it's like you're taught, go to school, pass your exams, get a good job, and some people have said that, pay your bills, save for retirement, and die. And I feel like we would have been a better nation, or even a better world, just to say, if money was taught in school. And I feel like if somebody taught me about money, like seriously, if somebody taught me about money while I was still in school, I would have been in a better place, like even at this moment right now, with everything that is happening. So what do you think? Do you feel like money is a topic that should be taught in school, or do you even feel like we as parents should educate ourselves and teach our kids early enough about money?
Well, it should be taught, but remember back then the way you used to behave, you are just focusing on basketball and passing exams. Do you think you have listened and applied?
Maybe it would have been tricky.
You understand?
Yeah.
I saw a meme today. Someone saying, I cleared the entire 4 years of high school without having seen anything through the microscope. And I did it. Blue will make me chicken out. The point is, necessity is the mother of invention. I agree with you that there are basic things that need to be taught, even from an early age.
Yes.
But I feel this is a role that actually falls squarely on parents.
Okay.
Remember with your son, Kolo, you will not, he will listen to what you say. But guess what? He will do what you do.
Yes. They model your actions.
My elder son was the time we were walking in a place, we were going to see a certain plot, and he was telling me that I'm just following you. And he was right behind me. He knows he's okay when he's following me,
Yeah, yes.
And even if it is taught in schools, just like any other basic education, if it is taught in school but not applied at home, my friend,
it won't work.
Yeah? It's not happening.
Yes.
At the end of the day, there are a few lessons that beginning we started we started shooting on some content. And part of the content, if I can give you a sneak preview, we'll be talking about money and children.
Nice.
Do you know at the age of 3, you can teach that guy something about money?
Yes, that is true. Yes.
Basic things. If I give you money, everything, this is the color of money, this can buy this can buy this, When you're going to the shopping, for them they see unga. You're standing at a place where there is unga. Why did you buy unga X, not unga B?
Okay.
So as you talk about it, and why you're making that decision, they are looking, they are watching. If you have a list that you're comparing prices. They are wanting the same thing.
Yes.
And that is why, yes, some people have information about financial literacy. But I feel, yes, as much as we apply it, should go against the parents. So whatever you're teaching your children now about money, if they ask for something, even at the age of 3, instead of them causing tantrums, they cause tantrums, they sit down, you also sit down. You know, and let them understand, especially at an early age, just teaching them how to wait.
Okay. Patience.
You understand? Yes. Let them not go play as you shop. You understand? Ask them to help you pull the trolley.
Nice.
Or to help you count the things you bought. They may not know even the price, but let them help you count how many things you have bought. So basic things that will help them learn the idea of patience. Right now, you're seeing people are struggling to queue in the supermarket. You just keep a safety scan. They have to be drawn from the floor. And these are not. What do you think a child is doing? You there, they will ask you questions, you know. And very simple. It's not very hard to start this because now it draws the interest. As they advance, you start helping them make decisions.
Yeah.
You understand? Yes, and for the very basic thing is that also don't focus on what you will leave for them. Focus on what you will leave in them.
Nice.
Yes.
Teach
So
them.
it should be taught in schools, but really take it really down. The very basic unit of the society, which is the family.
That is true, but then I never thought of it that way. If it was a class, but the funny thing, if it's something that, for example, like for me, it's something we never talked about investing. I never had anybody talk about millions or what. So like even thinking about me having 1 million shillings was like maybe if I win or something like that. So I feel like if it's something that is not being modeled at home, even if we teach in school, then they go back home and the reality is different. They won't connect. They won't be able to relate. The idea of parents being educated when it comes to financial matters, I think now that is like our main responsibility, because most of us we never had parents that were educated financially. So I feel like what you're just saying is we as parents and even just young guys should focus on educating ourselves rather than blaming them and saying, oh, you didn't teach us anything. Like move from the excuses and actually teach ourselves about finances. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, I encourage you to get this book, Turnaround Solutions, a personal guide towards practical and financial solutions. It's a good book. It's a short read with so much value, and we are going to share more details on how you can get this book. Now, there's a place in your book. Let me just get it, page 17, if I'm not wrong. You said something so powerful, and I was like, we have to talk about this. You said that majority of us have alternative sources of income that we are yet to discover in ourselves, whether employed or not. I was like, this is so important, especially during this time. And the good thing about this book, guys, is that he also gives you like an action point, what you can do to actually discover, other sources of income. But I want you to elaborate on that, especially during this time. Do you think it's important for us to look at other sources of income? Because now we have time. You have time to really sit down and like think about our lives and especially our financial lives. So do you think it's key right now to think about other sources of income, even if things go back to normal?
There's again a word going around. They talked about after this quarantine, you will not have a new skill, a new book, a new activity, a new business income generating activity. Your problem was not time, it was just lack of visiting.
Yes.
Some people are calling it, they are calling it out and saying that guy is shouting too much. Not necessarily lack of discipline.
Mm.
You see, a lie is a lie until it is denied.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is true.
Personally, I'll speak from personal level. I realize there are so many ways that I've been disciplined in terms of time.
Mm.
Have you ever, because I know you, I know your journey, the way you've come, especially in terms of speaker, and you won the award. Congratulations.
Thank you.
A good one.
Yes.
And you are based on the training that you've got and the mentorship you've ever gone for an event.
Mm-hmm.
And someone is speaking, let's say a chief speaker, and with no disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
this guy, you're looking at them seriously and asking yourself, I mean, I can do better than this guy. Have you ever found yourself in such a situation?
Yeah, that is that is true.
But just because they took a chance,
Bas. Yes.
just because they took a risk
Mm-hmm.
and went head on, they didn't care what people would say or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now they're making more money than you. You understand? They have
Yes.
more influence.
Woo.
They have a higher negotiating advantage.
Mm-hmm. Oof, that is true.
And the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
we have allowed some things to limit us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For you to succeed in this day and age, there are two things that we must look at.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is managing distraction and having emotional intelligence.
Nice. Okay.
Because we are not in the days of lack of information.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are at a place whereby there's so many distractions.
Kabisa.
And even from positive distractions. Let's say you're getting married, it's Valentine's, that week you're not watching.
Mm-hmm.
You're distracted. You're having a baby, you're distracted.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
looking at what people are doing around you, you're distracted.
Yes. Yes.
You're looking at this coronavirus, you're distracted.
Yes.
You're watching at the news, wondering what is wrong with Mutai, you're distracted.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, there are people who took chances. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You know this guy, there's a guy who designed, who has actually been employed
Mm-hmm.
to give movies a name.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
So the guy in charge of naming movies at Pixar
Mm-hmm.
makes over $700,000 every year.
What?
And he got
Damn.
a bonus of $300,000 bonus
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just for coming up with the name of which movie?
Cars. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Now, does that make sense?
Woo-wee. Car. Okay.
So he basically named that cars and he has a bonus of $300,000.
Wow. Okay.
Now tell me what kind of skill you require to do that.
I think.
That's why
Mm-hmm.
we are at a place whereby we have to invest in thinking.
We have to invest in
Thinking.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That the way I've simply put it in that book, think of 5 things that you can do to earn you an income.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you're thinking that at the comfort of your couch watching a series, nothing will come up.
Yes, that is true. That is very true.
If you don't like running or you don't like exercise, take a walk, find a time. Invest in a small 20 minutes, 30 minutes, where you just daydream and think about something. Dream of big things, dream of something. Because at the end of the day, how many of us make that kind of a bonus in a year?
Very, very few.
Very few, you understand? So we have to look at it in a very serious way. For someone to get 30 million bob as a bonus,
Oh.
it's mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. An average human being, according to Dr. Miles Monroe, the lady,
Mm-hmm.
has an average of 500 to 700 different abilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But because sometimes we are slaves of our jobs, I am working for an income. I'm working for my rent. I'm working to meet my basic needs. Then you have no time to be creative.
Yes.
You have no time. And it's unfortunate because sometimes, like I said, necessity being the mother of invention. You realize there's someone now listening to us, and probably somewhere the boss is thinking, you know what, we need to cut and lay off people.
Yes.
And they are one of them.
Unfortunately.
If they are not already thinking about what they can be able to do of employment, or even if you're in business and your business is actually on a lockdown, and if you have not diversified and looked at other options of creating a revenue, then it's up to you. I mean, it's unfortunate. And that is why we have to really, the biggest asset we have right now is not even, now we have things, not land, not cash, not our customers. It's actually time.
Yes.
So we can be able to sit down and ask ourselves, today, what value have I added? You know, what value have I added? How am I evaluating? I don't just watch any movies, but there's a movie I watched the other day called Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, man. I watched it like, I think it was on Saturday or Sunday. Oh, just talk about it because that movie is good. I watched it, man.
That movie takes you challenges you to another level.
Wow.
Another level.
Mm.
And the business that's going to another level does just not mean beating your competition. You know,
Yeah.
it means taking a position and early strategically. Because this guy comes, they want to buy, they're thinking, he's thinking, I mean, business is okay, I'm making money. So he goes to the warehouse, shouts, and heads before the second, and he shouts and tells those guys, you know what,
Yeah, I remember.
Each one of you must come to me with an idea.
Yes.
If you don't have an idea, stay at home. Because it feels like there's something,
Yes.
We are leading, but we need to do something better. And someone comes and tells them they need to go into racing.
Yes.
And they're like, that's not for us. I mean, you know what? Yeah, so the guy tells them we need to buy Ferrari. And then out of arrogance, Ferrari talks smack about
Ford.
Yeah, but he's so pissed, he says, you know what, no matter what, I want to beat Ferrari.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how much will it last. And they end up doing it for
I don't know, 4 years consecutively.
Yes. And the big lesson is, how do you, even if you're on top of your game, even if you've taken all the customers and the business is doing good, even at this particular season, how can you take it to another level? It can be business as usual. After this quarantine, I mean, it will never be the same. Life will never be the same.
Yeah.
So we have to strategically ask ourselves, even if I'm in business, what am I doing differently? How ahead am I in terms of thinking?
Yes.
Because you cannot be here heading and leading business.
That is true.
And all through you're just sleeping and watching series and sleeping and watching things.
Man.
The flattest line towards the shortest line towards mediocrity.
Yeah. Remember, after this was announced, I realized after like 4 days, I was spending so much time on the net looking at theories about COVID-19. I was on the news, I was a bit worried. And then I remembered, man, if you're not controlling what is going in your mind, then, my friend, your actions will be affected because that will create a feeling in you and your feelings will dictate whether you take some actions or you don't take. I had to remind myself, because when I was working, when everything was normal, I would wake up, I had a program, I'll wake up, pray, meditate, do some exercise, prepare, clean up a little bit because we just live with my wife and then go to work. when I normally get to work like 1 hour before so that I have 1 hour to read. Like I had a plan, but I realized right now I was sloppy and all these things because of this COVID-19, and I was focusing my attention on that. But when I was able to remember, just the way you said that the most important commodity right now is time, I switched it up. I was like, hey, I have time. I normally cry about, oh man, if I had time, I would be more creative. I could have created more things. Now I have the time. And because of that, I took it upon myself to reschedule my day. To anybody who's listening to this, what you've said is really important. We have to focus on the time that we have. Like, we have time. And it's true. If you're distracting yourself with series and movies and all this stuff, you're actually not helping yourself. This is the best time. In fact, let me say it again. This is the best time to get this book, Turnaround Solutions, because it will help you analyze your finances. And by the time things are going back to normal, you'll be way, way, way ahead, and you'll be a different person in terms of your finances. So I'm saying again, make it a point to get this book, Turnaround Solutions, and we're going to share with you how you can get it. Now, on to the next thing that I want us to talk about is something that you also wrote in your book. You say that the hardest part in personal finances is not making money, but the behavior change. Why is that true? I just wanted you to share that, man. It's so good.
Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
During this quarantine, you realize
Mm-hmm.
if you're not doing interviews, you just have plenty of time.
Yes.
And I decided to go in for runs.
Uh-huh.
I alternate my run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I run today, I'm not running tomorrow every day.
Okay.
And one of the things I've learned is the day I'm not running, let's say today I ran. So I'm actually can't wait for the day after tomorrow. That is after running.
Yes.
But the actual morning of running, my friend,
I know.
you're thinking, gosh, do I have to?
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned
Mm-hmm.
for me to go back to the way, to the ideal way that I should be at, and knowing that I've been struggling with my needs,
Mm-hmm.
I have
Yes.
It's not something that I know everybody says running is healthy,
Mm-hmm.
but it is very hard for me to change the habit of waking up late,
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoying breakfast, and just chilling.
Yes.
And it is very difficult. And everybody who is lazy with exercise, like we can say, man.
Mm-hmm.
But however,
Mm-hmm.
it is the primary thing, because the moment you do it for 3 weeks, you have already gotten into the habit.
Yes. Yes.
And we don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that book, can you see how chains of habits are very hard to break?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a quote there.
Yeah, by Warren Buffett or something.
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
Chains of habits are very hard to break.
Yeah, in fact, let me just read it. It says, it's on page 31. It says, chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken, by Warren Buffett.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is true.
It is very easy
Mm-hmm.
for you to spend all your money
Mm.
and enjoy it every day.
Mm.
But it's until a calamity like this one hits you and you realize you don't have any backup plan.
Yes.
That's why
Yes.
it's too late.
Mm. Mm.
So we have to start. They are painful. It's a painful journey.
Mm-hmm.
But we must intentionally choose from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
We have to apply the egg concept. Any force that breaks an egg
Mm-hmm.
from outside
Mm.
breaks it.
Mm. That is
But
true.
the force from the inside is the beginning of life.
Yes. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So it's our choice to know how this egg will be broken. Either way, it must be broken. or external forces will resistance that it will get broken.
What's your idea? Because you've talked about it in the book also, but maybe you can just touch on it. Your idea on saving and investing from what you earn. There's a percentage you talked about. I just wanted maybe you to share. You can share maybe if there's a place you can recommend for somebody listening to start investing.
Let me start here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there are people who are very different stages. There are people who are in debt right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can't tell that person to invest. Their priority right now is coming out of debt.
Coming out of debt. Mm-hmm.
Or even ones guys who are living from hand to mouth who don't have any other form of income.
Yes.
On the extreme end, you're looking at someone who is actually investing 50-70% of their revenues. So the most important thing is, eventually, depending on how your financial goals are, there are people who actually say, you know what, whatever I have will end up in charity. Their wealth over time will go towards charity. So there are people who say half of my income. But the question is whether you're saving or investing.
Okay, you must do it with a purpose. Yes.
You must do it with a purpose. If today the stage you are at right now, your financial goals entail, you know what, you need to pay your passive, your recurrent expenses with your passive income. Recurrent expenses are expenses that you will always find yourself paying: school fees, rent. Those ones can be met by investments primarily. That should be the focus. The age of the age we are at, where we have young children and we need to secure the education.
That is a good plan.
By someone has secured that and they need to acquire property. I don't know why who told us Africans that a home is an asset. But however, if fancy and you have a plan of doing a house placed for your own private help.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
the other stage, if you want to do rentals or a passive incoming business, focus. Right? Because investment will feed now your financial goals. So primarily there must be this. Your financial goals can be coming out of idle lending out. So, please note I did not say coming out of CIP. And so if you have this, it's not I think it's a stopper. You know what a stopper is?
A stopper.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
I call TRB a stopper.
You called?
I call TRB a stopper.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they use you, but it means you can't borrow from other apps.
Yes.
That
Yes.
means they are stopping you from going deeper into debt.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So if you're already there in the good, sometimes when you're rolling negative, you're rolling downhill. I mean, even stopping you making progress.
Yes. Yes. So it's a good stopper.
Yes. So it's a matter of now planning and saying, you know what, I want to come out of this debt that I have. So it's not still a financial goal. So when we talk about savings and investments, we should not do a blanket discussion.
Okay.
Because people are different levels.
That's some good advice. Do you think COVID-19 will have an impact on how we look at money after all is said and done? What are maybe some things you think people might change, about their relationship to money?
Well, first of all, it's not as predictable as it looks. Of course, some things are obvious because people respond to recovery in different ways.
Okay.
And that is, people are going to realize the value of time and the things that they've taken for granted.
Yes.
Take, for instance, if if you're told
Mm-hmm.
a 38 CEO, a 38-year-old has been appointed as CEO of Safaricom, what would you think?
We're like, experience.
Inexperience, right?
Yeah.
Just say it's too young, right? What do you think of President Trump?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was voted in at 72, right?
72, yes.
Yes. Obama retired at.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference.
Yeah, huge
Now, I
difference.
know you're wondering what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Now you're going to realize we are not all the same. I've given you those scenarios.
Okay.
At 38
Mm-hmm.
is when Kobe Bryant retired.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So at 38, if you're playing professional basketball, making millions,
Mm-hmm.
you're too old.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go into corporate and you're 38, people are thinking young. They're using their title young.
Yes.
My point
Yes.
is,
Mm-hmm.
our careers are very short.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
There's no career that can say that is permanent.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because right now we have seen very young people die out of COVID-19.
Yes, man. Yes.
You understand? If you look at even our athletes,
Mm-hmm.
look at defenders. Defenders are the ones who most of them play after 35 or after 33. Whereas the striker
Mm-hmm.
with clocking 28, 29, 30,
Mm-hmm.
other than Ronaldo.
Okay.
You understand?
Mm.
So we have to reevaluate and look at our lives and see we don't have much time.
Okay.
And we cannot waste it. So if I personally I feel it's something that people are going to look at differently.
Mm-hmm.
How to manage their time, how to become better people and what they do. And looking at the impact that they will have. Not about money. Because
Okay.
up to now we don't have a vaccine.
Yes. Yes.
Even for Jeff Bezos who used how much?
Mm-hmm.
Was it $200 million?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Even for him, it's still exciting.
Yeah.
So they're more important than matter, and I feel that's the one thing that will not remain the same.
We just pray that everything goes well, do what we can, and hopefully, man, things will get back to normal or even better. So before we close, I want you to tell our listeners where they can get the book and where they can get you online.
Well, on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
my page is Amos Ngau.
Mm-hmm.
Ngau, Ngau.
Mm-hmm.
And for more content, if you just go to my page, all the interviews relating to various topics about your finances, they're all there.
Okay.
So you can order your book. You can hit me up, hit my inbox on Amos Ngau.
Mm-hmm.
Still on Instagram, still Amos_Ngau.
Mm-hmm.
On Twitter, it's at Amos N. Washira. So basically, if you just go to any search Amos Ngau,
Mm-hmm.
you find the book goes for $1,000.
Yes.
And they can just inbox there and give them the till number to pay through, and then it can be picked in town. However, with this quarantine issues, they can just be delivered,
Yes.
but in town. But normally be at Fontana Bookshop.
Okay.
Any Fontana Bookshop around you from the center of your market.
That is nice. I'll also make sure that I link all social media pages on the show notes so that you guys can connect with him and get this book. It's a very good book. It's a short read with so much value. Like we've talked for we're clocking 1 hour right now, and you just talked about like even 10% of the book, like just a small section. So guys, get this book, and it's a great book. It changed my life. I've applied what you taught me in this book. And yeah, guys, get this book, Turnaround Solutions, a personal guide towards practical and financial solutions. What is the one advice you can give to our listeners to better their financial lives?
Well, I like quoting a quote in that book.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about money does not stay where it is needed.
Mm-hmm.
It is where it is respected.
Yes.
And if you don't respect money,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to play catch with money.
That is true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much for the work you're doing, guys. Look for Amos online. He's done so many interviews. There's a show that he's on. I've forgotten the name, but if you just look for Amos Ngau on Facebook, on Instagram, you'll see the shows, and he's talking about some really interesting things when it comes to our financial lives and decisions.
And if someone is challenged or
Mm-hmm.
they like the video, share.
Yes.
Share. And at the end of the day, it's about you making a difference in your friends' life,
Yes.
your family members' life. Because let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
It is so lonely being rich. The only rich person in the family.
Woo! That is deep. That is deep. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for making time to join me in this podcast. And to all our listeners, man, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to the podcast or on Facebook, man, share this video. If you've gotten value, go to Amos's pages, like the page, follow him on Twitter and on Instagram if you want to get some good financial advice and tips. Okay? Other than that, people, remember to love your life. This is the only life you have. Live fully so that you can rest in peace and create a legacy. Because how you live your life is what you're going to leave behind. Other than that, people, thank you so much. Till next Thursday, it's your boy Collins Odiambo, and I'm out. Peace.